Oh, God, isn't that a beautiful song? My theme, Stardust, written by Hoagie Carmichael eons ago, long before most of you were born. I remember when he wrote it, though. Beautiful song. There's a line in there I want to relate to you. And it goes, when our love was new, listen now, and each kiss an inspiration. Is that beautiful? For you older people like me, it's beautiful. For you younger people, learn from it. I'm going to waive my right to do a monologue today because I have a very special guest. As a matter of fact, all my guests are special. But I want to spend a little more time with this particular guest, and you'll see why in a moment. I don't want to tell you who it is just yet. So I'm going to waive my monologue. You know what a monologue is? That's where I bring you, delude you, swamp you with ribald humor, wry wit, intellect that can't be gotten at any Ivy League school. You get all that here from me because of the furrows of my fertile mind. And it's all free. All you got to do is tune in. Hey, by the way, did I tell you I love you? Yeah, I do. Because without you, there'd be no me. All right, we're going to go over, we're going to sit down, and I'm going to introduce you to my guest. So don't go away, because this is a very important session, especially, and I'm going to give you a little hint now, if you've got a pet, or if you're an animal lover, or both. So don't go away. Take off your shoes, pour yourself your favorite beverage. I'm coming right back. Hello, we're back. Good to see you. Good to be with you. Always the highlight of my day is when I'm with you. Before I introduce you to my guest, I've got something here that's been hanging on my wall for a lot of years. And I'm going to read it to you. I have to apologize in advance if I can't get through it, because I'm a very emotional guy. I cry on a pretty day. But a lot of people, you've heard this, you've seen this, you know it. A lot of you don't. But those of you who do, it doesn't hurt to give you a little reminder. The name of it is The Dog's Prayer. And this is from the dog's point of view. This is the dog talking. I'm only the interpreter. I'm going to read the dog's words. Treat me kindly, my beloved master, for no heart in all the world is more grateful for kindness than the loving heart of me. Do not break my spirit with a stick, for though I should lick your hand between the blows, your patience and understanding will more quickly teach me the things you would have me do. Speak to me often, for your voice is the world's sweetest music. As you must know by the fierce wagging of my tail when your footstep falls upon my waiting ear. When it is cold and wet, please take me inside, for I am now a domesticated animal, no longer used to bitter elements. And I ask no greater glory than the privilege of sitting at your feet beside the hearth. Though had you no home, I would rather follow you through ice and snow than rest upon the softest pillow in the warmest home in all the land. For you are my God, and I am your devoted worshiper. Keep my pan filled with fresh water, for although I should not reproach you were it dry, I cannot tell you when I suffer thirst. Feed me clean food, that I may stay well, to romp and play and do your bidding, to walk by your side, instead ready, willing, and able, but to protect you with my life, should your life be in danger. And beloved master, should the great master see fit to deprive me of my health or sight, do not turn me away from you. Rather hold me gently in your arms as skilled hands grant me the merciful boon of eternal rest. And I will leave you knowing with the last breath I drew my fate was ever safest in your hands. I think that's beautiful. It was written by Beth Norman Harris. Don't know her. I don't know that she's ever done anything else. But that moves me to the very soul. Okay, let me introduce you now to my guest. You probably guessed. His name is Dr. Mark Russo. He's a veterinarian. Dr. Russo.
Sir, good day.
A pleasure to have you here.
A great pleasure to be here.
I think often of veterinarians because I've never been without a dog in all my life, except when the government invited me to go to Korea. They gave me a good time over there, and I couldn't bring a dog. But I've never been without a dog since I was 5 years old. What prompted you to be a veterinarian?
Well, in a way, it's pretty easy. My father was a veterinarian. When I was born, his practice was in the house. I think I spent the first 2 or 3 years in a playpen, or shared the playpen with a dachshund named Pretzel. And it was just kind of always assumed that maybe the elder son would take over the practice.
If you had it to do all over again, would you still be a veterinarian?
Yeah. You know, the interesting thing is when I went to veterinary school, it was the late 60s, and a young man's interest could be in other directions of the time. It was a kind of a tumultuous time politically and culturally, and albeit all my life I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian, about the time it was time to go to veterinary school, I had a wandering mind, and actually many of my classmates in veterinary school frowned upon my ambivalence the first year or so. Ironically now, 45 years later, most of them are totally burnt out of the profession, and every single year I do this, more and more do I understand how blessed I am to have this work to do.
Oh, what a beautiful thing to say. What a beautiful thing to say. You know, if I had it to do all over again, I would go into show business. I would get some good training, but when I go to a vet, I take her every year to a vet. I take every dog I've ever had to a vet. But when I was a kid, 10 years old, and I've had my first dog, really, first or second dog, we didn't go to vets. Yeah. There were not many vets around.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford it, to be honest with you. And we put them out in the morning and bring them home at night. But that's all changed now. A pet is no longer a pet per se. It's part of the family.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think in the 45 years that I've been a veterinarian, even during that period, I've seen the change, and where the pet is an integral part of the family,
no question.
And really an equal in the family, and it's really quite beautiful thing. For all that's going on in our country politically and otherwise, I think we have very soft hearts, and sometimes it's a little hard to see how that's going to come out, but it surely comes out in our love and our sharing our lives with these guys.
Oh, no question about it. No question about it. Now, where is your practice?
It's in Kingston at the junction of Route 3A and 106, in the exact same place it's been for 69 years. 69 years, really? Yep.
Really?
My mother and father moved there in 1947, built the animal hospital right next to the Colonial House a year or two later. My dad practiced for pretty much 70 years. I've been doing it for 44 years. I'm just trying it. I'm not sure it's what I'm going to do when I grow up. But I'm giving it a try at any event. Yeah.
You have a website?
We do. KingstonAH.com.
KingstonAH.com. Now, as you well know, we do not recommend, nor do we do not recommend any service or product you see on this show, for obvious reasons, because you are smart enough to pick your own. All we ask is that you try it. This man I know because he's a member of the board here at Area 58. Am I saying that?
Yeah.
He's also a selectman of the town of Plimpton. Do you mind my saying that? He's also an assistant restaurateur. He doesn't cook, he parks cars. His wife is the cook. Where is your restaurant, by the way?
Just Right Farm is on 58 in Plimpton, right near the Halifax line, pretty much across the street from South Shore Equine Center.
Oh, wow.
It's a farm-to-table restaurant. Most of the food served is...
Wait a minute, I got to stop you.
Huh.
That's important.
Okay.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's farm to table. He raises everything that is served in that restaurant. Am I right?
Pretty much. I should be careful there. I want to qualify it a little.
Okay.
It's really my wife's operation. I live on a farm. I'm not the farmer. I truly am the parking lot attendant. But most of the food we serve is stuff we've grown, if not stuff we've grown as near, often within 4 or 5 miles. Other than the meat products, as much as possible, it's local. And often picked the day it's cooked.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. Are you open every day?
Spring or late spring, summer, early fall, yes.
7 days a week?
Oh, no. Friday and Saturday nights mainly. And we do other events, very small weddings, day-long retreats, corporate retreats, things like that throughout the year.
Does that need reservations?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have a website there?
Yes, and in fact, it's pretty easy to remember, justrightfarm.com.
Justrightfarm.com. I recommend you try it. I'll be honest with you, I have not tried it myself, and I got to be honest about another. I got to tell you about this too. I've told you many times that my show is unrehearsed. There's no teleprompter here. I have no script, and the people that I interview, I have never met before. I know this man. He's a friend, although we don't socialize, but he's a friend because we serve on the same board. We have I know we have something in common, and she's sitting right in back of me. My dog's name is Chloe, and I love animals, and I would really, if I could get a job part-time as a veterinary assistant, I would jump at it. I would jump at it, even at my age.
Put in an application. We'd love to have you.
Okay. All right. We're going to come right back. We're going to talk more about animals. I just want to get you familiar with Dr. Mark Russo, who's one heck of a nice guy, and I'm sure he's a great veterinarian. He's a guy who loves animals. There's got to be. So we'll be right back. Don't go away. All right, back once again. Again, it's always good to be with you. I've introduced you to Dr. Mark Russo, and I try to get you a little familiar with what he does besides veterinary. By the way, do you know the definition of the word veterinarian? Where did it come from? Do you know?
Oh, my goodness. You know, I used to, and I do not know.
All right. Don't be embarrassed. Because I asked a police officer one time if he knew where the word cop came from, and he was embarrassed. He didn't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I looked it up before I came here today. The word is venerus, and it means keeper of the beast. It's from the Latin.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it means doctor of animals,
Mm-hmm.
which is what veterinarian. So, if you use words all the time, have no idea what the devil they mean or where they came from. I want to ask Dr. Russo, he's a very unusual practice. Do you have other vets working with you?
We employ 5 other veterinarians.
5 other. And your specialty is holistic medicine?
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain, number one, what is holistic medicine as it applies to humans?
Mm-hmm. Well, as it applies to humans, as it applies to dogs, alternate approaches to doing medicine and trying to get things better. Right? In the conventional medicine realm, usually using drugs, surgery, and the like. Holistic medicine, at its core, tries to look for an underlying cause for the problem at hand and tries to fix the underlying cause. So much of modern medicine is about a symptom, cough, trying to get rid of the cough, instead of looking for the underlying cause and fix that. mean, I spent the first part of my career actually as a veterinary neurologist doing conventional medicine.
Really?
The first 20 years I saw referral cases really from all over New England. When I started actually as a veterinary neurologist, specialty medicine was very rare. I think there were 40 of us in the world at the time.
Wow.
Along the way, I got a little tired of neurology, and I became a general practitioner. And then in the last 20 years, I've taken up holistic medicine. And there are a lot of different modalities. I tend to use things like acupuncture, Chinese herbs, food therapy, various manipulations, but essentially holistic medicine looking at gentle, often hands-on ways of getting creatures better, four-legged creatures and two-legged creatures.
Excuse me for just a minute. Do you have to go to another school to study holistic medicine?
No, generally veterinarians start out doing veterinary school and doing the traditional stuff, and then through courses, seminars, even 2-year programs, learning the other stuff. Yeah. I actually started in the holistic medicine. I always wanted to do acupuncture and never really had time. And about 20 years ago, I carved out the time. Interestingly enough, when I started doing the acupuncture, I found a lot of animals responded and did very well, and found a lot of animals didn't respond so well. And there's a natural tendency. You start with acupuncture, you start with chiropractic, you find creatures that get better, you find ones that don't, and then we add herbal medicine, and then we add food therapy, and then we add all the other modalities. I actually do a lot with food therapy, particularly from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective. Food can be seen as sustenance, but it also can be seen essentially as therapy. That in manipulating the diet is a powerful way to fix underlying imbalances that are leading to problems. And I think we intuitively know, we all intuitively know that. We all intuitively know that eating a plant-based diet and lots of fruits and vegetables and not too much saturated fats and not too many refined sugars, we all kind of intuitively know that it's a way toward wellness, albeit sometimes we don't stick with it.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
We don't often do it like we should, but we know it. We know what's good for you and what isn't. So you've been practicing holistic medicine do you do animals other than dogs? You have cats? You have horses, for example?
Yeah, a little bit horses.
Okay.
I'm mainly trained in dogs and cats, and that's mainly what I do. Every once in a while, someone can convince me to go out and see a horse, and I actually adore that. Number one, riding around the countryside is a lovely way to spend the day, but horses are a little shy sometimes about acupuncture needles initially, but once you get a couple of needles in, they just melt. They turn into jello. Many of them, they relax so beautifully. It's really beautiful to see, and it's very catchy. I can go in pretty tense and fired up. A few needles in, they're relaxing. Before I know it, even I'm relaxing. You know, and I frequently in holistic medicine, often I'm seeing things that conventional medicine have failed. People are really desperate by the time they come to me. And I see so many things that I cannot get better, but if nothing else, we can make them feel better with these various modalities. And, you know, terminal cancer, other terminal illnesses, just extreme old age and things wearing out, where conventional medicine doesn't have much more to offer. And I think one of the beautiful things of holistic medicine is very concerned about quality of life and real things we can do to just make creatures that aren't feeling so well feel better and substantially improve the quality of life of the time they have left. Goes for human beings too.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that was the greatest discourse I've ever heard on animal holistic medicine. Thank you so much for that. That was great.
My pleasure.
It's almost comforting. Now, my Chloe is going to be 12 years old this December. We've had 2 toy poodles prior to her. They both lived to be 16. They both died in my wife's arms. And often, I had taken her to the vet, and the vet said there's really nothing more we can do unless you want to put her to sleep. But I don't think that's necessary. Just treat her nicely and so. Now I think if anything like that should happen, I could come to you and you could make her at peace with herself. I don't mean to put her to sleep. I don't mean that. But just make her feel better and me at the same time.
You know, the irony of it is when I originally went into holistic medicine, I was really interested in wellness issues. I wanted to see athletes, agility dogs, show dogs, hunting dogs, and bring them to optimal level of performance. That's what I was interested in. What I end up seeing, ironically enough, I don't see very many like that. What I see is the beat up old wrecks, one after another.
Yeah.
And in fact, a fair part of what I do these days is fall in love with these old wrecks. They're probably going to pass away pretty soon. It's interesting. When I was young, I hated geriatric medicine. It tends to be chronic disease, and young Turks are, you know, they want to get at stuff. They want to get stuff better.
Yeah.
Now, being a little older and maybe a little bit more tender of heart, I meet these old dogs, these old kitties, fall in love with them, knowing they only have a short period of time, and I think they tend to fall in love with me, and it's really very beautiful. You said at the beginning about the cherishing every kiss, and I think I get the chance, particularly with the holistic medicine where we spend extra time and really get to know the patient. I get to cherish every patient and cherish every visit. I get to crawl around on the floor with them. I get to whisper in their ear at the end of the visit. They love it. So often I'll whisper in a dog's ear and they'll sort of look over at me like, what just happened? And I'll sort of look up out of the corner of my eye and the owner's sort of going like, well, I've never seen my dog look like that before.
Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful, doctor. That's gorgeous. I love it. I love it. If you change the tempo here just for a minute, I hate to do it because that was so great. Thank you.
Sure.
What do you think about, should people have pet insurance?
You know, I think it's a personal decision and a philosophical decision. I am a huge advocate of so-called catastrophic insurance. One of the risks with pet insurance is the risk of the same thing that happened in human medicine, that the clinician getting overburdened with paperwork, getting other people into the decision-making process, and you know, we've made a colossal mess of human medicine in that way and other ways. I really encourage pet owners to get pet insurance, but to get a very large deductible so that it makes the insurance much less expensive. They take care of the small stuff. The concern is the time the animal gets hit by a car, the time the animal gets some really serious disease that's going to cost many thousands of dollars, and I think that's when the insurance is of great value.
Okay.
So far, at least, the insurance companies in veterinary medicine have been very good at staying out of our hair, and it's always a risk. Medicine's not nearly as easy as it used to be. It certainly isn't in human medicine. So far, we've done pretty well in veterinary medicine.
I've never met a vet I didn't like. They're just wonderful people.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's a field where the reward, the monetary reward is certainly nothing like it might be in other similar professions, but the reward in a sense of purpose and a sense of compassion and especially a sense of...
You really feel that way. You really feel that way.
Oh, you know, at the end of the visit, for the dog to just lap your face and cherish every kiss, a wise man said.
Listen, so bearing that in mind, knowing that, how do you feel when you know there's nothing more you can do for an animal? I know how I feel. If anything happened to her, because there's only her and I would die.
You know, it's hard. Interestingly enough, generally, when we're getting to that time and really the agonizing of making a decision, it's the people that go through much more suffering frequently than the animal. It's hard for the veterinarian, but in truth, guiding people to the proper decision, not making a decision too soon, not waiting too long, minimizing the discomfort, maximizing the quality of life. I think for the veterinarian, albeit it's hard to be involved in those decisions, it's really a chance. It may be the most important thing we do.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. You again, I'm going to change the tempo a little bit. You were talking about horses and acupuncture. And off camera, you showed me an acupuncture needle for a horse.
I did.
Would you show that to the people?
I will. So this is an acupuncture needle. It was made by a Chinese veterinarian. I met him about 10 years ago when he was about 85 years old. Just for comparison's sake, here's a doggy needle. It's actually a human needle, but the size we use on.
Look at that. Look at that.
So
I
this,
hope you can see that.
This Chinese fellow makes these needles, and then he's about 5 foot tall. When I met him, he was probably in his high 80s. And the way he would get this needle into a horse, he'd get a running start from behind, run, take a big jump, and then bury this all the way in the rump of the horse. And I swear the horse would pause for a moment and then just slowly look around at this old man. Really beautiful. I mean, and that's all about how skilled he was, how talented he was. Horses try to bite me and kick me when I put in needles, and not nearly this big. And just for you horse lovers out there, the needles we use on horses, I use on horses, generally about that long. Nothing like this.
Really?
This is
Okay.
old-time Chinese medicine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that, if I had an acupuncture and you showed me a needle like that, I'd probably say thank you very much and bid you a fond adieu.
You know, one of my teachers, interestingly enough, the way he got into acupuncture, he had been a baseball pitcher in college, had what was probably a rotator cuff, though they didn't diagnose it then, had tremendous pain for years, finally was convinced to go see an old-time Chinese practitioner, swears it was a needle like this that the practitioner put in below his collarbone, right on through, out the other side. Ooh. He described searing pain. This was an ex-Marine kind of guy. Searing pain like nothing he had ever had. And when the needle came out, his years-long shoulder pain was gone.
My word.
And I'm not nearly that talented, but you hear those stories, particularly old-time Chinese practitioners.
Yeah, wow.
And there's some people, some animals that are incredibly responsive. There are some that aren't very responsive at all, and that's part of the problem. And it's part of the thing with holistic medicine is trying to figure out who's who, and if one modality doesn't work, doing another. I do a lot of what's called Tui Na, which is a 3,000 Tui Na, TUI-NA, combines acupressure, massage, chiropractic adjustment, energy balancing, or Reiki, something alike, all in one. 3,000 years old, doesn't look like very much. Sometimes it's just like fingers going down either side of the spine. And in honest to God truth, in many cases that I see, the acupuncture is kind of the warm-up for that. Animals tend to just melt when you do it. The real beauty of it is, my job description is less to do it in the exam room, more to teach people how to do it at home. Animals love it, the people love it. It just makes them feel, a whole bunch better. It's a beautiful bonding experience. For me in the exam room, I think a fair amount of holistic medicine involves a huge placebo effect in the very best sense of the word.
Really?
Similar to the human placebo effect. It's often poo-pooed. Really, the placebo effect is feeling taken care of, feeling held, feeling supported, and animals eat that up. So Tui Na is this beautiful thing that people can do at home. It's incredibly cost effective because essentially it doesn't cost anything.
You have a phone number?
Probably.
Okay to give it?
Kingston Animal Hospital.
Okay, that's good enough. Kingston Animal Hospital. You've heard Dr. Russo. You've seen him. What a great guy he is. This is not his camera facade. This is the way he really is. He's just a really, really nice guy. So if you've got a problem with your animal, you don't know where to go, you don't know where to turn, Kingston Animal Hospital, give them a call. I urge you to do that. I'm not recommending, I'm just telling you to give it a try. I think you're going to love it, especially if you meet this guy. Okay, we're going to say goodbye now. That 30 minutes went by like 30 seconds because of your interesting talk and interesting, articulate guy. Before I leave, I want you to give a thought, maybe say a little prayer for two people who in the news have just died, who I think the world of. Don't know them, but I think they're great humanitarians. One was Dick Gregory, who was a comedian, a humorist, a political satirist, and he did a lot of good. The other guy is a guy by the name of Jerry Lewis, who raised billions of dollars for the kids with muscular dystrophy. So if you would just give them a thought and a little prayer, I'd certainly appreciate it. I just think they were great guys. Speaking of great guys, Dr. Russo, thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you.
I got to sign off now because they keep holding up things like this, and they go with this like this, and I know what that means. If I don't get out of here, I'm out of a job. So until the next time, remember what Lawrence Welk said, keep a song in your heart. I'll see you later.